and welcome to this Herald Cafe series of interviews where we speak to the people in the news who make the news and are worthy newsmakers in their own right. She's just not a pretty face, but a woman of substance who saw an issue, quit her corporate job, went ahead and worked on a program. She did something about it. Let's give a warm Goan hello and a warm welcome to Ms. Purnota Datta Behel, the founder of Cuddles Foundation. Purnota, a very warm welcome here to Goa and to our studios.
Thank you, Reena. I'm happy to be here and thank you for this opportunity.
Purnota, you set up Cuddles Foundation after a visit to the Tata Memorial Hospital where you saw young children that were being treated for cancer, for childhood cancer. Tell us about this moment of epiphany when, realization hit you that you needed to do something about what you had just witnessed.
Yes. So, this we are talking back when my first child was born, which is about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I had a full-on corporate career, like you said. I was head of marketing for one of the largest internet providers in the country. And what ended up happening is I was on my maternity. And at that point, Arena, I was pledging a part of my salary for the issue of cancer at the Tata Memorial Hospital in Bombay. Once I ended up going there, I did not expect to see what I saw. Never before had I seen a small room stuffed with so many children. I saw little kids on mums' laps. Mums were sitting on the floor. The kids had IVs in their hands. And this we are talking way back.
Yes.
And it was really hard for me. And I was happy to turn around and just walk out. But the head of social services then, Shalini Jatia, called me and said, Purnota, you've come here, you can't go. And she says, come meet those kids. And I ended up going to the ward. Once I was in the ward, room after room, I saw stories which were heartbreaking. And as I was turning out and coming out, I saw this little girl who had a black thread tied around the same leg as that of my daughter, who was an infant then. And now that you ask me about the moment of epiphany, that was really the moment of epiphany when I realized that it's just luck where me or people like me
Yes.
are where we are, comfortable at home, our children safe, and some others who are there. So I went and asked the social worker. I said, what is it that I can do? And she said something really strange to me. She said that, Purnota, we get enough funding around treatment. The government is doing a lot around that. We don't get funding around nutrition.
Okay.
And that just blew me because food is such a part of our culture. Yes. We feed in our happiness, we feed in our sadness that we feed, especially if you see Goa, how integral it is to the
Our
culture,
cuisine,
the
yes,
cuisine.
it's all about it.
It's all about
yes.
it. I was like, I wanted to delve deeper into this issue because it didn't make sense. And that's when Cuddles Foundation was really born, when I started by saying, well, what I can do at this point is I can give what I am giving towards nutrition. And then every time they had a requirement, they would call me. And soon it surpassed what me and my husband could afford, even on a stretch budget. And that's when I started tapping into friends, I started
Yes.
tapping into families, and Cuddles Foundation was born.
What an amazing story. I mean, as you said, that moment of epiphany, and as we progress, I wonder whether each of us in our own careers do get that. You took a huge decision and made that huge effort and sacrifice, so to speak. The journey of Cuddles and the team starts at the hospital and ends at the playground. Okay. As of March 2023, there were about 37 hospitals with you on the team, 13 states and 50 plus nutritionists. Walk us through this journey, the challenges and the changes.
So the story I just recounted was about 10 years back. This year we complete our 10th year, and it's such a privilege to be here in Goa and, potentially starting a hospital association in Goa. But this journey started really with the Tata Memorial Hospital, where because I wanted to do more, I reached out to a doctor called Dr. Brijesh Arora, who was doing some seminal work around the interaction of nutrition with chemotherapy, and he had established and proved and really taken work of scientists from all around the world and in India to say how important nutrition is in cancer cure. So we started because
But when you were talking about this, this was way back then, and they had, you know, now it's like everyone's talking about nutrition and health, but at that point I'm sure it was something so new, right?
Yeah, Reena, you
Yeah.
won't believe that we had to do a conference where Dr. Brijesh Arora stood and spoke to 300 doctors, really presenting his case and saying why it's important. And there were one or two who objected, saying, "What are you even talking about?"
Yes.
In a country like India, where we don't have access to many times medicine, what are you talking about? We started our journey from there. And like you said, today we are in 43 hospitals actually as
Yes.
of date.
Okay,
today.
as of date, wow,
Yeah.
it's moved, yes.
Yes. So this journey has been where we started our work from one hospital. We created a blueprint. We made a simple plug and play model because we knew if we wanted to expand, it had to be simple, it had to be cost effective, and it had to be something that would be applicable across the country, across the region. We took that program and we started tying up with one hospital after the other once we had proved that our model worked. We started with one, and today we are at 43.
Yes. I mean, amazing work, you know, over the last decade that you've reached where you have. As we go along on this journey talking to Purnada, around 16,000 plus children have fought their cancer with nutrition and the Food Heals program. You believe that medicine and nutrition go together. What are the nutritional challenges faced by children suffering from childhood cancer? And how important is nutrition for these children?
You know, Reena, anybody who's sick, child or not,
Yes.
what do? Our traditional knowledge says if you have a cold, have a hot soup.
Correct.
Right. If you get hurt, have haldi doodh. Right.
Yes.
So we know from, and it's normal human nature, normal human behavior and knowledge that's intrinsic to us, that
Go to your
food is
kitchen.
required.
Yes, and go
for
to your
growth.
kitchen.
Yeah, go to your kitchen.
Yeah.
That's what's required.
Yes.
So really for these kids, nutrition is extremely important because any sick child, any disease, the first thing you do is nutrition because nutrition works on a stem cell level. Now, for the children we are specifically talking about, because Cuddles works out of government hospitals, where the large population of kids we see are underprivileged. There are two major issues that these kids face. The first major issue that these kids face is that when they are presented, when they come in first, they are malnourished. They are malnourished because of their economic status, because they are poor, and they are malnourished because they have cancer. Because you know how the cancer affects your body, you will see rapid weight loss. Most of these children's symptoms start with fever, diarrhea, vomiting. They are unable to eat, so they are malnourished at presentation. The other thing that happens is once the treatment starts, chemotherapy is a very aggressive treatment. Many of our kids are unable to eat because of the side effects. They get mouth ulcers, they get ulcers in their food pipe, they have nausea, they have diarrhea. So these are the challenges these little ones are really fighting.
Purnada, you were just talking to me about how these children who come to the hospital are already malnourished and undernourished because of their social and economic conditions. And how important is it for nutrition for these kind of children who are suffering from cancer, and what is the nutrition that these children need at that point of time?
Sure. So then what ends up happening is you cannot put a malnourished child on chemotherapy because chemotherapy is an extremely aggressive treatment, and if you put a malnourished child to chemotherapy, the body most of the time reacts as if it's been poisoned. They get episodes of toxicity. So it's nutrition that gives them the strength to take chemotherapy and complete their treatment.
Okay, so when they first come in, they are just getting diagnosed and they are getting their normal treatment. Then you get nutrition into the picture? Is that how
Yes.
it works?
Yes.
And then when they're strong enough to take the chemo, that's the next step of it? Is that how it moves?
So nutrition and chemotherapy are actually complementary, Orina.
Oh, okay.
The minute
yes.
they get diagnosed, we provide them with nutrition.
Okay. And when you're talking about nutrition, what exactly are the kind of meals or what are they allowed or supposed to have at that point?
Sure. So allow me to take you through the program very briefly to understand how our program works, because it is way more than meals. When we say nutrition, people typically associate it with hot food. But what Cuddles Foundation does is we tie up with a hospital, we sign a MOU with the hospital. The first thing we do is we place a trained pediatric oncology nutritionist. It's a super specialization. In simple terms, it's a nutritionist who understands chemotherapy, who understands childhood cancer and understands the interaction. This nutritionist assesses the grade of malnourishment of every single child who walks through that doors. And based on the grade of malnourishment, which can be mild malnourishment, severe malnourishment, moderate malnourishment, based on that and the kind of cancer, she writes a nutrition prescription,
Okay.
which is like a prescription your and my doctor would write when we
Yes.
go, which is based on our symptoms, our height, our weight.
Yes, or like when we go to a dietitian, they look at us and say, no, now you have to cut down on your kind of meals, you know, I mean to make it more simple that way. So this is a chart that this oncologist would give each child, and that's when you all play a part and the food
Yes, so the
program comes in.
nutritionist writes the prescription.
Prescription, okay.
The only difference between a regular dietitian and our nutritionist is she takes into account the treatment. And then she writes a nutrition prescription. The other important thing that we do is we combat the side effects through food. So if there's nausea, what do we do to combat nausea? If there's diarrhea, what do we do to combat diarrhea? Right? She writes a prescription. Now, this prescription has two things. One is over-the-counter products, because most of the times our children are not able to eat the amount of calories they need. They're very sick. So they need specialized products that are available at pharmacists, chemists, that can be added to food to take up the calorific and nutritional value. The other part of it, of course, is food and ration baskets, because we have to remember that a chemotherapy of a child can continue anywhere between 9 months to 2 years, and we have to make sure the child is eating well through the period when the child is at home or the child is at hospital. So not only do we give all of this at the hospitals to really deserving kids who we know are so poor that they will abandon treatment if they don't have food support, we give ration bundles that takes them through the time when they are at home. So these are some of the interventions that we do, and every time a child comes back for chemotherapy, which is typically anywhere between 14 days to 1 month, we see the child's nutritional status, we give them an updated prescription, we give them supplements that they require. One last point I want to add is many children are not able to eat orally. They're very sick. So we do nasal feeding as well. Children who are not able to do nasal feeding, we do feeding via inserting a pipe straight into their food bags. So all those kinds of interventions are done by super specialized nutritionists who work at those hospitals under Cuddles Foundation.
What a huge ecosystem. We are just, at the tip of the iceberg, literally. There's so much more to know about this, and we are only just learning some of it now. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing and your foundation does. Purnata, you are, as part of the Cuddles Foundation, bringing out a report on childhood cancer in India, analyzing the impact of nutrition on children. What is the goal of this report, and what would you like to see happen once the findings and the report is published?
So we began from a place where we had to speak to lots of doctors, lots of medical health practitioners to say nutrition is important. Thankfully, we are now at a place where there is great acceptance and the doctors are inviting us. To do that, we do need funding, Orina. And one of the things that funders ask for is data.
Okay.
Although you and me don't need numbers to see that nutrition is important for any care of any kind of
sickness and
sickness,
disease, yes.
treatment completion, etc. But the aim of this report actually is to give out to the corporates and people in general in the country. So the aim of this report is to provide facts and figures and data to the people in general as well as the corporates around what really nutrition does. So to give you an example, we saw 97% of children continued their treatment, Orina, when nutrition was a part of it. And this is a massive number because treatment abandonment is a real problem in a country like India. So when you are able to present facts and figures and data around this works, there is higher acceptance, there is higher awareness. Then there are conversations like the one I am having with you.
Yes.
And through you and your channel, I'm able to reach out to the people in Goa and the public in large, because many people don't know that nutrition or the problem of malnutrition in children with cancer is massive. And the aim is to just create awareness about that.
Yes, I mean, as you said, it's massive, it's so huge, you still have to wrap your head around this, especially for lay people like us. What is Mission 2027? What are your plans and your programs in the next few years?
So Mission 2027 is very, very exciting actually. By 2027, we want to make sure that we are reaching out to 80% of children under cancer care in the country, because it is our deep belief that no child should get left behind because they are malnourished. So by 2027, we want to be able to reach out to 80 or 85 centers in the country who are doing such amazing work, tie up with them and reach out to our kids. The other thing that I want to speak about is one of the amazing ways to look at this problem is that there are very few problems in the world, Orina, that you and I can solve in our lifetimes, right? All problems are worthy. If you're looking around, the world is exploding, right, with the things happening geopolitically everywhere. But this is one problem that's very solvable. So
it's within our reach.
It's within our reach, within our lifetime. There's no reason to be able to not solve this.
Yes.
And if a few of us get together and decide to solve it, it will get solved. So it's one of those that we can solve and move on and say done.
Yes, we have done something, however small it may be, you know. Thank you so much. We've been speaking about our young warriors in fighting their illness and getting the right care at the right time with medicine and nutrition. What about their parents and caregivers? How do you all counsel them?
So, you know, it's interesting you're talking about parents and caregivers. Mothers, because I'm a mother, I have 3 children of my own, are very close to my heart. And every time I walk into the hospital, you will see, Orina, kids are very resilient. They get off chemo, they're running around, they're playing, they're laughing. You look at the mothers and you look at the fathers and you look at the caregivers and your heart goes out to them. Most of them seek treatment in larger cities because there is a belief that if my child goes to this particular center, my child will get better. So you will have people coming from the south going to a center in east, people in east going to a center in Maharashtra, even though there are great centers there because of that. Because this happens, typically what they do is that they are people of very limited means. They sell whatever little they have typically, they come to a town, they live in the outskirts or they live on the footpaths and they are seeking treatment. Once nutrition is introduced, you know, mothers have told us that we feel like better mothers, because now instead of spending that 2 hours sewing something, earning 50 rupees a day, I'm able to spend time with my child, take care of my child. Fathers have told us for the first time we feel supported, because, you know, men are very proud, typically, and you know, they are in a place, they're not very poor where they are, Orina. But when they come, they are forced to penury. To have support like that, they know they're okay. But apart from all of that and what parents tell us, I do want to talk about one very important program that we do, which is called the Parent Support Group, because we want to make sure that our parents are not dependent on Cuddles and Cuddles Foundation when they go back. So we have to teach them how to fish.
Yes.
So we do this
stand
program,
on their own,
stand on their own feet. Mostly people have forgotten how to make use of products that grow in their backyards. We've forgotten about ragi, sattu, millet, other things that are growing indigenously. We teach them how to use those. We teach them about hygiene. We teach them simple things like a banana and an egg is better than a Parle-G biscuit, things like that. So this parent support group is a program that we do and work very closely with parents to make them independent.
Yes. So on the one hand, you're looking after nutrition of the children, and you're also counseling and giving parents that support that they require, because they themselves are so stressed. Kids will, as you said, they are resilient, they'll run about, they forget that, they are in a hospital environment, but it's the parents and, that need that little hand holding. Purnata, these hospitals and these institutions that you work with, how are they also involved in this whole ecosystem of care and recovery and rehabilitation and this whole process that goes into taking care of children like this?
Yeah, so if you were to take the analogy of a tree, the hospitals are really the roots and the trunk of it, and caregivers like us are really the branches. It is the hospitals where who are doing, especially the government hospitals, I would like to say, who are doing a phenomenal job in the limited resources that they have. We have doctors who leave lucrative jobs all around the world at great personal sacrifice, are coming and working in these hospitals and taking care of these children. I can speak of children because we only work with pediatric wards. Our work is mostly with the hospitals arena. We need a doctor to guide us. The doctor is our anchor and support. Our nutritionist works with our doctors. And I would also like to say that there is an amazing initiative happening around the country where I spoke to you about the migration that happens where parents leave and go, and amazing initiative where spoke centers are being developed all around the country where people won't have to travel long distances, but they can have access to the care in close to where they are, which will see an increase in the number of people seeking treatment for their children. Because a data point I want to give you is that in India it's estimated about 75,000 children get cancer every year, but only about 25 to 30,000 reach the hospitals, right? So yeah, with these hubs and spoke model that they are developing right now, the government's working on, we will see more and more children coming and seeking treatment.
Amazing.
So they're extremely important.
Yeah, so it's a long road ahead, but we are getting there.
We are getting there.
Purnata, you and your team and the foundation will be here back again in Goa in December. You're having this awareness, you're having a fundraiser, you're having an advocacy. What is the kind of support you'll require to take this initiative forward, to let more people know, that there is an organization like this that looks after children with the kind of needs that they have, and how can affected families and children reach out to you all?
So the support that we require is really like the support that you're giving us at this point, this channel is giving us at this point, which is really to create an awareness that this problem exists. That's number one. So to everyone who's actually watching it, I would like to request you and say that do reach out and talk about this issue to at least 2 people you meet today. That would really help us. The other one is that we absolutely request everyone to introduce us to their organizations where we get an opportunity to go speak to the people in the offices, organizations about this problem. And that also helps us tremendously to fundraise under CSR, to fundraise through individual donors. People often ask me how much is enough, and I say, 5 rupees buys me egg. So really any amount is really welcome. People can find us on our website www.cuddlesfoundation.org, and in Goa specifically, if we speak about it, we are in talks with one of the largest hospitals in Goa. It's a government hospital. I will speak about it when we sign our MOU to start our program here, and we are really looking forward to reaching out to children from Goa and the communities nearby.
Amazing. And I hope people, our viewers listening out there and watching this program will get in touch with Cuddles Foundation as and when they set up base in Goa. you know, in 2016, you received the National Award for Child Welfare, and many awards have come before and after. And this has a huge skill set, a team with, you know, the resources that they have. How does one, you know, try and be a part of the foundation? What is the skill set? Um, what is the qualification that you're looking for?
So, you know, behind the scenes, Cuddles Foundation really looks like any other organization. We have different teams. We have a team of fantastic people who have left whatever doing and they have come and they have joined the cause. So, we have a fundraising team, we have a finance team, we have a marketing team, we have a team of very strong volunteers who are on ground helping us out with different things. So, irrespective of what your educational background is, if you have an affinity for the cause, we have a place for you.
Wow,
Let's just put
amazing.
it like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, yes. Purnata, you've been an integral part of this whole story with you, with your team. You have this vision and the legacy and so many more things to come forward. You have lit up our Diwali this year with these heartwarming stories, and I'm sure there are so many positive stories out there, you know, where a tear turned into a smile, and our viewers can check out on your website. And here at Herald and, you know, literally all of Goa, we want to wish you the best, wish you and your team to light up more lives. What you're already doing is massive. Thank you for being with us. A very happy Diwali to you and your Cuddles Foundation and the team. And we wish you more joy, more families will come together with what you have been doing. And just reach out for the stars. Thank you for being with us today. If you have any final words for our viewers, just go ahead.
Thank you for this, Orina. And I just want to end by saying that childhood cancer is extremely curable. In developed countries, the cure rate is as high as 95%, which is 95 children of the 100 children get well. So if you know of anyone who could have cancer, who's battling cancer, please tell them to seek treatment. And if they're already seeking treatment, do let them know how curable this is and be that light for the person who you are with. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnata.